Today I have that not so fresh feeling somewhere around here.
Tjena vän! Du vet hur jag håller på.
Han är på din berömda.
Right, so I know that I promised you that I would start talking some data. When you use data for measurement, so the first thing you have to do is to start setting your goals. Now, a friend of mine, Jonathan Briggs, he always says that our methods are becoming good enough to ask human questions to the data, and that's what you should start doing. You should also start setting human goals, meaning you should actually decide what your goal is, just as you would if you would explain it to another human being, like we want to be the best in or we want to increase whatever it is that you want to do. Set that as your goal, then you move on to the metrics, because if you don't have that goal set in front of you, it will be very, very difficult to quantify what it is that you should measure after that. So start out with setting your goal in terms of human words, and then you turn to looking at the data. There are these things called KPIs, and some people believe that KPIs are the same as goals, but they're not. A KPI should show the movement towards your goal in terms of some measurement. And so a goal can be 1 million views on YouTube, whilst a KPI can be the increase in subscribers that you've had the past month. You know that an increase in subscribers will lead to more views. So it's a movement towards your goal. That's what KPIs stand for. And that's very important to know. KPIs and goals, two different things. Use both. There are some good general ones that I think everyone should have a look at. In terms of brands, I think you should look at Google search volumes. Because the number of, or the volume of searches that you have in any given week, the change between the weeks show progress or regress in terms of your brand presence in people's minds. So it's a good way of looking for that. So Google search volumes, that's one of them. Second one is looking at backlinks. If a lot of people are linking to your domains, it usually means that you are in a sweet spot, and if that increases, then you're in a better spot than before. If it decreases, less. I mean, it is quite logical. If you do stuff that people care about, they will share your stuff more, and thus you will get more links pointing back to your domain. The third one, in terms.
Right, so there the wind took over, but what I'm saying in the rest of this clip is that mentions are pretty weak to look at, and what you should rather be looking at is the velocity of mentions. So if you have a lot of people talking about you and that rate is changing to more people, then there are a lot of conversations to get into, and you should get into those conversations. Now, when things are decreasing in terms of velocity and in terms of mentions, you really need to change what it is that you're doing to communicate, because that is something that no one is picking up. So that gives you that type of signal.
Right, so in terms of good KPIs for transaction driven or
consumer-driven business, like an e-commerce, I would look at cost per visit and revenue per visit and see how they change over time. Because that's actually your drivers for marketing, as if your cost per visit is higher than your revenue per visit, you're doing something really wrong and you need to change that. So that's a really interesting KPI to follow. Of course, I would look for loyalty. So I would measure churn, or more importantly, I would measure the value of a customer over time. So I would look at, if I acquire a customer 1 week, then I would look at how much do I earn from that same customer the next week, the next week, and the next week. Now, sometimes I get the question, but what if I sell cars? People don't buy a car every month or so. And you know, I agree. But then you need to maintain the relationships so that they buy a car from you next time. Why don't you get stuff that they can actually buy from you, that they want to come back once a month or once a week or ever so often to actually buy something from you? Otherwise, you will have to acquire them every single time you want them to buy your car. So, you know, if you don't have that, then you're just lazy. Come up with more things that people can buy from you. They have money.
So Sarah.
What does Pepsi Jesper say about your LKO, Bob?
I say it works.
Sarah just said something. One really good one for consumer insights is to look at engagement rate and what you actually measure for engagement rates. And the change, I come back to this, the change in engagement rates over time. So depending upon what type of interactions you're actually looking for, then you will get different outputs and it will mean different things. So that will probably have to, you know, you'll have to do some further analysis. Did I get that right?
I think so. Maybe. So that's the thing with the engagement rate, that it's so like depending on what's on the content you're providing.
Yeah. For those of you looking for the correct answer, sadly, in many occasions there are no one answer. But
you have to think.
which is many cases is, you know, a situation that you're very unfamiliar with. Hashtag losing all my subscribers.
Tjena vän. Du vet hur jag håller på.
Han är på din berömda.
Alright, so I want you to meet a friend of mine. Say hello.
Hello. How are you?
It's the best light in here ever. So this is Johan. And we're working on a project together which is about finding a way in which musicians in places of the world that don't have a collective society where they can actually start making money from their music. And whilst they're making money from their music, you know, they build their network and they can start selling merchandise, get supporters and all that other stuff that I've been talking about before. But yeah, we're actually doing it now, and it's a computer out on a coffee table, so it must mean that we're serious, right? Alright, so that meeting went well. I'm heading home now, but the idea is that we'll start with Ethiopia and finding some countries with a lot of talented musicians and artists, and we'll help them out to set up whatever they need in order to get paid what they deserve.
and not get robbed. Yeah, that's what we're doing. It actually feels good. It's real good. Now, for those of you who are worrying that I haven't been able to write because I've been full throttle, you guys couldn't be more wrong.
Excuse me, after the takeoff, please.